Okay, in this lesson we're going to graph sine functions. This problem is taken from the textbook. It's problem number 5. What we have here is y. Let me see if I can write this. Beautiful. Y equals 1, 3. Yeah, that's a 3. Sine x, and then the period is from 0, between 0 and 2 pi. And so the way we go about this is, number 1, we're going to find the amplitude. Oop, there you go. And so the amplitude is normally the coefficient before the sine function. So that would be, and it's going to be absolute, so it's going to be 1/3. So that's just saying that the distance, whether it's positive or negative, is always going to be 1/3. All right, number 2. Let me see if I can get another color going. Okay, cool. Let's do this color. Number 2, we're going to find the period. Okay. Okay, period. Good. And period is normally over 4. And we have here, it's told us in the problem that it's between 0 to 2 pi, so the x here, we're going to fill out as 2 pi. And we can reduce this into 1, or actually pi over 2. Pi over 2. Okay. So the third step, actually let me get another color going. The third step is to find additional points. So we find our x1 value. X1 value is going to be 0 because that's what's given in the problem. Our x2 value is going to be x1 plus the period. So that will be equal to 0. 0 is given to us by x1. And then we add pi over 2. And so our x2 value is going to be pi over 2. Okay. We continue that again. So we're not going to add x. Oh, excuse me. This is x3. x2 plus the period. So pi over 2 plus pi over 2 equals pi. And then what we're going to do next is pi over 4, which is going to be pi plus the period, which is pi over 2. That gives us 3 pi over 2. Last point that we're going to get is x5, which is 3 pi over 2 plus pi over 2, which is equal to 2 pi. Okay, and so I'm running out of space. For number 4, let me change the color again and get something nice. I don't think there's any much difference with this one. What we're going to do is get the x and y points, and so x1 is 0. So actually, let me write this like this. So 0 pi over 2 through pi. Okay, so basically to get the y value, we plug in x into the equation. So we get 1, 3 sine 0. Alright. Okay, review just real quickly the unit circle. This is 0, this is pi, this is pi over 2, this is 3 pi over 2. Okay, and also 0 is also 2 pi as well. Because when you make it around, so you start at 0, then you go around, then you come back to it, that's 2 pi. Okay, so we're talking about the sine function, which is the y values in the y values in the circle. Okay, so sine of 0 will be 0. So 1, 3, so 1/3 times 0 is 0. Okay, and then you repeat that for all the remaining points, and then you do your graph. All right, so you got pi over 2. So these are your x values. So this is x, this is y. The y is going to be amplitude, which is 1/3, and then negative 1/3. Okay, this is 2 pi over here. This is pi. This is 3 pi over 2. Okay, and so your graph, oh, let me get a different color going. You should have a point there, a point there, a point there. Oops, excuse me. I will get rid of that. That is incorrect. At pi, you should have at 0. At 3 pi, it's going to be at negative 3, 1/3, and then it goes back to 0. And then the last part you do to finish this problem is connect the dot, and then that's your sine function. Okay, so just to recap what we did. Number 1, we found the amplitude, which is the coefficient about before the sine function. We found the period. The period is the x value, is the length of x that we have been given in the problem. So 0 to 2 pi, that's going to be your period over divided by 4, and that gives you pi over 2. So you divide the space between 0 and 2 pi into 4 equal parts, and you have these x values given there. In number 3, we calculated the x values, and then number 4, we didn't do it completely because I ran out of space, but you solve basically you plug in the x values that you got, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. You plug that into the equation that was given in the problem, 1, 3 sine x. So wherever you see an x, you plug in that value. You do the calculation. That is your list of y values, and then you are able to graph the function based on the points that you calculated in the previous steps. Okay.